Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. So we're going to talk about kind of some interesting stuff today. We're going to talk about the narcissist mindset, why it was not your fault, and what I mean by that. How can we tell it wasn't our fault? Because a lot of us are like, should I have done this different? Or if only I'd said this or done this. But the narcissist is such a weakened person that they don't have their own identity. And I was doing some thinking that, how, sorry, still getting over COVID, when we were going through a relationship with them, when it's even keel, when we're both working towards things together, things are fine. But when the narcissist starts to overpower us in a sense, they start uh, uh, demeaning us. So they're in a sense of power. So I started thinking about this a little deeper because they are such weak people. They exert power, but what kind of power is it? So here is my analogy. When somebody is drowning, the strong, healthy person who's able to breathe is out there trying to swim and trying to help them, gets overpowered because the person drowning is in a weakened state. So their adrenaline increases. They're not thinking straight. They'll drag the person trying to save them down and destroy that person. So it is a weakened person, but with adrenaline, they become stronger. So the narcissist, when they're abusing us, they're a weakened person. And we're trying to help them. We're trying to either save the relationship or save the person to kind of see what a healthy relationship is all about. So we're sitting there helping. But the way their brain works is when they're under periods of stress, they get adrenaline rushes. That's why their eyes, and it can happen to us too, but the adrenaline rush can change the dilation of the pupils. That's why sometimes during the narcissistic rage, you will see the dark eyes. And it's a different kind of thought process. Their neurons, neurotransmitters, everything in their brain, the brain chemistry is different. The connections are different. And it gives them an unsettled sense of being, just like a drowning victim. You can sit there and go, it's going to be okay. I'm going to take you. You're going to be able to breathe. Just relax. The person's not going to think that way. So the narcissist, under periods of stress, they're thinking different. And is it our fault? Is it our fault that we can't help this person when they're dragging us down when we're trying to help them? We've done everything we can. And, the relationships are so toxic. It's not like it gets into that panic mode where there are emotions. Like the narcissist does feel emotions. They can feel anger and stress, sadness, but they don't feel the love and the connection to what somebody else is feeling. Just like the drowning victim. If you're like, sweetheart, I'm trying to save you, but I can't breathe when you pull me under, they're not going to go, oh yeah, okay, I'll back off. I feel comfortable. I'll relax and let you save me. It's not like that. The narcissist is reverting back to things in their childhood. And a lot of us are like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And we have to understand the way the narcissist mind works. It's not us. It can be from an outside source. So let's say it was like an interracial relationship, and you can put this in any different aspect that you want, but it's just an easy thing to vision. So you're going along, you're in an interracial relationship, everything's fine, you guys are loving each other, spending time together, talking about a future, and then all of a sudden something from the outside is like, wait, you're dating outside your race, or they have somebody who's prejudiced or judgmental. And if the person isn't strong enough to say, no, this is a person I want to be with, whether it's outside your religion or your race or whatever, socioeconomical status, the narcissist is too weak to where sometimes they'll stand up for it if they believe strong enough that society will go along with what they're saying. But if they feel that they're going to be judged in any way based on somebody else, that they'll bail. But if they are judged based on somebody else's social and economical status, or it's the cool thing to have interracial relationships. And then they're going to latch on to that. They're going to latch on to whatever is going to give them the right kind of feedback. So the person they're in the relationship with, it's not a thing about their value, but the narcissist, whether it's you're too skinny, too heavy, too pretty, so now that they're self-conscious, or you're getting more attention, or that's why sometimes too we're like, this is what's interesting is, if let's say I was like, but she's not as pretty as me, well, that's letting you know what's important to me. Maybe looks are important, whether it's me, how I present myself, or what I want in a person. Or you could say they're not as religious. Well, that's saying that religion is what's important to you. Or they don't have as good of a job, so that means that achieving financially is important to you. We can tell a lot about a person based on what's important to them. And so some of you, I'd like you to take the time to look at the jealous factor, in a sense, that you have against this new supply, because that'll at least let you know what's important to you, whether it's your job, your looks, your religion, your kindness, you could say they're not as funny as me. Well, being funny is something that's important to you. And we can take that information to find a good match. I saw something about how when you feel like a heaviness, you can tell that the relationship's not working out, that it's causing stress, it's causing anxiety. Our bodies are reacting to something toxic. And what's toxic is the relationship. So we try to work through it. But the narcissist, this is where it gets tricky, is something in us reminds them of their abuser. And it could be something like, sweetie, I need you to take the garbage out. That's the deal. I need you to do that every Sunday because I'm busy with the kids. Sunday is your night to take the garbage out. So something simple like that can trigger them into, maybe they were beaten as a kid if they didn't take out the garbage, or they were told to vacuum, so now they could never go out with their friends because they didn't vacuum, and they just don't want to be told what to do because it'll trigger something. And when we're like, what did I do wrong? We had an agreement, Sunday says night to take the garbage out, I do all this other stuff, and we're like, what is going on? And sometimes it's even subconscious in the narcissist's mind, that they don't exactly know why they're devaluing us, why they're angry at us. And if they could relate that, like, I have to let you trust in me that I'll do that every Sunday. Or if you could just remind me once, or put it on a board. Like, there's ways to get through things, but the narcissist doesn't communicate the right way. They pout, they get angry, they turn things around. So is this failed relationship our fault? It's just like trying to save a drowning victim. And you're like, I did all I could. I did all I could. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you had the best intentions to save the relationship, just like saving a drowning victim. But there comes a time when you're like, it's just going to take me down too. Like, that would be horrendous to have to try to save someone and know you're both going to die. So you can either continue on and hope, even though it's not going to work out, or let go. And if that situation, as an analogy, happened, you're going to be like, why didn't I try harder? But we have to remember, sometimes you can't try harder, or it's going to destroy you. And there's going to be those lingering feelings like, I wish this would have gone different, or why didn't I how about sooner, or this or that. Like, we can go through all this stuff that's going through our heads, but the failure of the relationship, when two people love each other, they work through it. And I've asked for you guys to comment, How often was you like, what can we do? What can we do to make this better? The only time I heard that was after my first one called off the wedding and he wanted to postpone it. Couldn't tell me why or till when. So I got real uncomfortable. He just took the rug out from under me. And, you know, if we would have communicated better, maybe, who knows, but, you know, the only time I heard, what will it take to keep you? What will it take to keep you here? And I said, you know, because we were supposed to get married and I didn't know why we weren't. We already lived together, had a daughter together, yada, yada. Invitations sent out. And so that was the only time he tried to like work through things. Like, what's going on? Sometimes they will say it, but like, what's going on with you? Like they are almost wanting an ego stroke. It's not like they're, after you pour your heart out, like, this is what's going on, or I'm lonely, or I'm confused, you still love me, or whatever it is that we're going to say to them. It's like, oh, okay. So you're like, I just bared my soul and for no reason. And that's where the lack of validation comes in, to where you're like, you know, if you really cared, I just poured my soul out and it still doesn't matter. So I've been thinking about, you know, like the new supply, a lot of us are hurt by that. And I know in my situation, a lot of it is just the outside influences. That one was running for Miss Michigan, the other one, she was 10 years younger and he didn't have to take accountability for anything. So it was just a fresh, easy start. You know, over 2 years of promises to make things right and then just bailed on me. It's very destructive, confusing, where you're like, I did everything. And it can come down to something as, you know, hair color, or, you know, you put on 10 pounds too much or 10 pounds too little. And it has nothing to do with who you are. And if you see how often they go from person to person instantly in love, it's mind blowing. It's just, obviously they are just latching onto somebody. I've been single for years. Through, like, screwed over. It's hard to say when are you single, when are you not, when they screw you over for years and you don't know where you stand. But basically I've been alone and there are opportunities out there, but I'm not just latching on to someone. But the narcissist, you're like, wait, you know, you didn't even break up, or they didn't even get divorced, or they already have like somebody as a live-in partner and talking about marriage or getting pregnant or moving so quickly that there's, I don't know if you could say it this way, no canonization. I know they do that in biblical terms, where you go through and you see what's really true and what's really worth it and legit. You know, that's why a lot of them don't last long, because they don't invest. They don't see what it's all about. Some latch on for whatever reason. They get married, but it's going to be some little trigger that this new supply is going to have, where, you know, they're going to get devalued. Some outside force is going to tell the narcissist something's wrong with their life, whether it's just out of jealousy, they see somebody else has something that they want. That's why too, with the divorce rates, they say people who hang out with people who are divorced or going through divorces often get divorced themselves. It's kind of like the grass is greener on the other side. It's an unstable self-image that the narcissist is searching for. And little bumps in the road are what's going to throw the relationship into a tailspin. So is it your fault that all of a sudden somebody from the outside said blue eyes suck, brown eyes are better, or whatever the situation is? Big boobs, small boobs, whatever it could be. that it has nothing to do with the person. Because, even if the narcissist friend said certain things, do they really know you? Do they really know you? They can judge you, but do they really know you? And you know who you are. You're here searching for answers. And that to me right there is a sign that you are a good person. You're not there like, haha, motherfucker. I'm glad you're hurting. I'm glad we're apart. We're sad. We're trying to figure out what went wrong. And we're doing self-reflection. But try not to do too much self-reflection, because we know we did some things wrong. A lot of it's reactive abuse. And it's sad because none of that stuff would have happened if we would have been treated the right way. But I just thought it was interesting how, when you think about the drowning victim, it's a powerful person because they're in a weakened state. The drowning victim's about to die. And they become powerful because of that adrenaline rush and not thinking straight. And they'll terrorize anything in its way to survive. And that's what the narcissist does. They get into that state where the adrenaline destroys their relationship. Their lack of maintaining calmness, the triggers that they have. A lot of them don't even know what their triggers are. It could be something simple. It could be something, where you're like, hey, and maybe they have these flashbacks of being beat. Sometimes it could be something maybe you have long nails and that scares them because they were abused by somebody who scratched them. It can be things that they don't express. So all of a sudden, let's say it was long nails. Let's say I got my nails done. Now my person's freaking out. If they're not strong enough to say, hey, that scares me, they're gonna shut down, and you're like, what is wrong? Sometimes too, you may be like, oh my gosh, I need to get more dolled up so you get your nails even longer. And it's like, sometimes we're doing things thinking we're trying to make things better. And it's actually making it worse because the narcissist doesn't communicate. So are you at fault for trying to do something nice? And it's a silly analogy, getting your nails done, but there are triggers like that. Or if I got my hair cut too short, now I remind them of their mother who used to beat them because their mother used to have short hair. And what's interesting too is a lot of times people end up with somebody similar to their parent, and body style, things like that. But in the end, it kind of flips. They're drawn to it, but then when they experience it again, the triggers come out and it gets confusing. But comment below on the traits that you see them drawn to, the people that they're drawn to. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes they'll do it the exact opposite. And that's why while we're searching for answers, it's like sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's that way. If they're vulnerable, grandiose, but they can flip-flop between the two, these answers that we're searching for are never going to be concrete in our heads, because the narcissist knows the other half. And we're just guessing. And we're piecing together all our guesses on some truth, some lie, some assumption, and we just have to have faith that we did all we could. And it hurts being discarded. We feel that we would have gone through pretty much everything, and we get discarded easily. But it's not because of us. It's because of the narcissist triggers or inability to take accountability, just like the nails. Like they couldn't communicate, and a whole relationship could get destroyed over that. When sometimes these solutions are simple if they would just discuss it. And a lot of times they don't. If they think it's going to be embarrassing, or they might feel so vulnerable that they're like, look, your nails scare me, to where in their mind, they're going to think we don't like them because they're saying something that they don't like about us. So if they say something that they don't like about us, they're going to feel that we're not going to like them back, as opposed to, okay, I understand what you're saying. Whether we agree with it or not, we can say, okay, I can, whatever, I'll do that for you. I don't have to have long nails, you know, as an example. But just rest assured, it it was not your fault. And we feel guilty about reacting. But we reacted to something that blindsided us. Like, where is it coming from? And you get in that kind of like panic mode of trying to save the relationship, not realizing how damaging it could be. And we have to realize that there comes a time when we have to save ourselves. You can't save everybody in this world. So find a good swimmer. But the healthier the relationship, the safer it is. The more whole somebody is, the more they can support you, the more they're not going to drain you. They're going to build you up and love you. They're going to compromise. And the narcissist will always go back to abuse as their comfort. That's their comfort. They can go with the flow for a while, but they had that poor pity me, that life isn't the most perfect thing that they had hoped for, and they put those facades up to create a false narrative. And once they realize that narrative's not working out, or people are finding out who they truly are, it all falls apart. So I hope that helps kind of get into the mindset of a narcissist, and to relieve some of your stress that it was nothing about you. The new supply, they're not better. They're truly somebody different. And it's going to be okay. I promise you that. After you go through the stages of grief, it gets better. There's going to be ups and downs, good days and bad days. But that's when you need to be your own best friend and remind yourself just how special you are. And you don't deserve to be treated like the narcissist did to you. So please like and subscribe. One-on-ones are available. Topic requests are always welcomed, and I'll see you soon.